Hey everybody, welcome to We the 98ers. I'm Thomas Schooley, joined today by Aiden at Aiden on Air. You can also follow the show on Twitter at We the 98ers.
Yep, at We the 98ers.
All right, so Aiden, let's talk about since last show. Last show we complained about the offense. Where was the offense? Where are the offense? Where are the offense? Since last week's show, we had a great road trip, 5-2, right, on the road trip.
Yep, 5-2 on the road trip. Solid.
And we actually found some bats. We're now 19-17 for the season, third in the AL East. Talk about what happened this past road trip.
You know, I think the main thing that I saw with everything is they were taking more pitches. They were being more selective about the pitches they swung at. And we're not going to sit here and say that the Angels are an easy team to face, because Shohei Ohtani has shown that he is one of the best in baseball. I mean, doing it on both sides of the ball, Shohei is great. We got snubbed of a great pitching matchup because they pushed him to 2 days later, or else we would have gotten Tyler Glasnow versus Shohei Ohtani, which would have been a fun pitching matchup to watch. But what the bats did is they got more selective and they found the right pitches to hit. And it's exciting to see, because we have been so up and down lately that even though we lost 2 out of 3 to Oakland, even though I think it's a good sign that we swept a pretty decent team in the Angels.
You know what I thought was promising? The coming from behind. And we've seen it these last today's game against Oakland. But earlier in the season, the beginning, we were only scoring 1 run a game. That when we got behind 2 to 3 runs, it wasn't, you couldn't make it back up. There was no faith on being able to catch them. Now those games against the Angels, I want to say every single one of the games we came back to tie it up and then end up winning it. Same as today. Today we were in a hole and come back and win it.
And I think the good thing for me is that it feels like, even though our averages may be low when you look at the team stats overall, it feels like all the bats are coming together. Like, it feels like if one day, let's say, like today, it was the Willy Adames, Mike Zunino, and Mike Brasso. But the next day, you're going to get Austin Meadows and Manuel Margot and Joey Wendell to hit. So it feels like this is what we've been missing all season. When one team is down, when a few guys on the team are down, the other guys are there picking them up. And that's what's great to see. And that's how it should be. And you know what? I think if you're a Rays fan, you're still a little skeptical. You're still not happy with where this team is at, but you're happy to see an improvement.
Well, and it's funny. It's like they were listening to the show because we were calling out those players, you, me, and Evan last week, and now they've been scoring. We were wondering where Adames was at, Margot. We were saying, where their bats been, and all of a sudden they show up.
Exactly, and it's great to see. The fact of the matter is that these bats have needed to come around, and they finally have. And look, let's not sit here and sugarcoat it. This is 5 games, right? We all know that this is 5 games, okay? So we can't sit here and say that everything's going to be okay, that everything's going to be fine. But what we can say is it's a nice addition, and it's a nice way to go out. And I think you got to be really happy with how this pitching staff is throwing. It all starts off at the top with Tyler Glasnow at 2.37 ERA. The one thing we're going to say with him is the same thing you say about Jacob deGrom, that he doesn't get the run support. And it still is showing true. But he is pitching so dominantly that it doesn't really matter most days that he doesn't necessarily get the run support. But I think what it all comes down to is the fact that when some guys are down, other guys are picking them up.
I mean, Glasnow it was a bad start yesterday. I've been on vacation, so all my days are running together. But I think it was yesterday, but he ended up coming back, getting it together, and looked like Glasnow that we've been used to this season.
What, it was his first bad start all season, right? I mean, you're throwing 31, 32 games a year. You're going to have a bad start every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's not going to sit here and be easy necessarily, because you're not going to be on your A game for 32 starts a year. There are very few people who do that. And I think right now there's only one pitcher in baseball who does that, and that's a guy I just mentioned in Jacob deGrom. And even at that, sometimes he's not doing that. But the fact of the matter is that he does. Tyler Glasnow is as close to perfect as you can get. Glasnow went 5 2/3, 2 hits, 3 runs. The part that hit him was the 4 walks, but he still struck out 11. He had a good start, but he got no run support. We lost the game 6-3, and he got no run support. Another earned run given to Reed and earned run to Thompson. Thompson got walked off on, if I'm not mistaken. But here's the thing. If we would have given – no, he didn't. Sorry. But if Glasnow would have gotten run support, I think we would have had a whole different ballgame, and we could have come back and said we were 6-1 out of this road trip. But we're not. And that sucks, doesn't it? Of course it does. But now we can go into this next upcoming week. We're ready to go. We know our bats are there. We know the pitching staff is here. I think we're going to be fine, Rays fans. And I know you hear us saying that all the time. And you know what? There's something we wanted to talk about, and I know it's coming up here in just a minute. We're going to have 3 against the Yankees and then 3 against the Mets, which I think will be fine. But there's one thing we wanted to talk about. Kevin Kiermaier's down with an injury. And you know what? Many Rays fans may say that it's not a great thing, but the fact of the matter is, I think this is best case scenario for Tampa.
Yeah. If you tell me that's going to be the bad starts of Tyler Glasnow, I'll take it all year long. We're not going to have the bad run support that we had yesterday for every one of his starts. So if that's what we're going to get from a bad Tyler, then I'll take that all year long. Give it to me. So I was just looking at some of the transactions. So Kevin Kiermaier placed on the 10-day injured list with the left wrist sprain. We called up from the Durham Bulls, the right-handed pitcher, Heed. And then we placed Archer on the 60-day injured list yesterday. We activated Yarbo from the 10-day and placed Mejia on the 10-day injured list. So
did we? I don't think we ever called up a second catcher, did we?
No. Yeah, on the Smith
Okay, Kevin Smith got called up.
on Friday. He got called up from the Durham Bulls,
Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that.
and then Fairbanks got activated on the 5th, and then Choi rehab assignment on the Durham Bulls.
And let's talk about Durham real quick. G-Man Choi so far, he's playing today. So these stats are at the start of today. 4 games, 14 at bats, hitting .214. He's got an RBI, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. But everything I've heard from the people down in Durham is that he's seeing the ball well. He's playing a good first base. He's okay. And the fact of the matter is you don't need him to put up a 300 average in AAA. He's not in the minors for the minors. He's still working back from an injury. So I think you're happy with that. But what I was talking about with that Kiermaier injury is a guy by the name of Josh Lowe. Josh Lowe coming into the day in 18 at-bats was hitting .222 with 2 bombs, 4 RBIs. Added another bomb today. Already has 2 hits today. Defensively, he has been amazing in 5 games now at this point. That I think sooner or later we're going to see him up in the major leagues. I think this might have been, and I know this is wishful thinking maybe, but I think this, depending on how bad this injury is, it may be the last time we see Kiermaier in a Rays uniform.
You think they get rid of him? They pull the trigger this early?
I think they have to. I think you're seeing the production with Josh Lowe. You know you've got production with Margot. If Josh Lowe still isn't ready, you still got Brett Phillips who can come in with clutch hits. That I think you just need to get rid of Kiermaier's contract and get rid of, from what a lot of people say, his negative energy.
Is people
He's
going
got
to
a
take
negative
that,
juju.
though? Is someone going to take that from us, though? We're going to have to find a partner to dance with there.
I think if we pair him with the crap ton of prospects we have, we can find something.
Yeah,
we can.
I would imagine it would have to add some.
There are plenty of teams out there who need a center fielder. Byron Buxton just went on the IL for an unknown amount of time. We know Kiermaier loves Rocco Baldelli. I'm sure Baldelli's on the phone right now with Tampa saying, "Hey, what's Kiermaier's status?"
I love Rocco Baldelli.
Don't we all? I think if you're a Rays fan and you've been a Rays fan since around 06, you love Rocco Baldelli. How can you not love the man?
There's names in Tampa that any Rays fan, you just say the name and it'll bring a smile to their face. And Rocco's one of them. You got to
Evan Longoria, Rocco Baldelli, Jeff Vinnick.
So, yeah. Longoria really doesn't put a smile on your face. When I met him, he was a dick when I met him. So
fair enough.
He was a very conceited jerk when I met him. So yeah. But you bring a Zobrist, name like Zobrist up. You bring Rocco Baldelli, any of those old teams from any of the old players from the last World Series run.
I haven't met a person who doesn't like David Price.
Right.
One of my favorite players all time, Akinori Iwamura. Everyone chuckles when they hear his name. Or even if you want to go even further, not further back, but similar era, Grant Balfour. Everyone loves the big Aussie man. You know, it's just names like that are synonymous with Tampa Bay. And
Crawford.
Look, I was having Crawford, Upton, Pena. The whole 2000, Deandre Navarro, Andy Sonnenstein, Matt Garza,
Toby Hall,
Cliff Floyd, Gabe Gross.
Yeah, any of those old names. So when you say
JP Howell,
yeah, that he had a little Rocky problem here. So.
Hey, I love JP Howell though. Because the last time Tampa Bay had real true roles in the bullpen, I put roles in quotation marks, is you had JP Howell in the 8th, Grant Balfour in the 9th.
And Balfour always closed it down.
And yes, we've had closers here and then when we had Joel Peralta closing for a little bit and Fernando Rodney, guys like that. But that was the last time we had a true and the starters actually went 7 innings. Even if your starters went 6 innings, Your starters gave you 6 innings. You knew that 2008 Rays bullpen could lock it down.
Oh, yeah.
And in my opinion, it was the same thing last year. Last year, if you got through 6 innings, Alvarado, Fairbanks, Castillo, Anderson, Rowe, you can rotate that. And then when you threw in Fleming or McClanahan in the playoffs or whoever, you could rotate that however you wanted to. And you felt good as a Rays fan until the World Series. You felt good. And even in the World Series, you're like, oh, shit, they took out Snell. But you still felt pretty good about bringing in that dominant bullpen that was dominant all season.
What do you think about this year's? I don't think
they don't have the mojo. It feels like something's not clicking in their heads.
I don't know if it's not clicking. I don't know if it's just...
It might also be fatigue. They played for 60 games, and they were throwing as hard as they can.
Well, it doesn't seem like as the team itself is having fun like they did last year.
I agree.
I don't know where it's gone down. But last year, I think it's because no one expected them to do anything.
Yeah.
So when they won, they acted like 4-year-olds.
We talked about this last week on the podcast. It's starting to scare me like 2009, Schoolie. I'm starting to get scared.
But they're doing good. They're winning games. I mean, I'll take a 5-2 road trip every time.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. But you know what's going to be the true test?
The Yankees again.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We get an off day tomorrow. And you know what? I hope not just for the Rays, but for myself, who has a lot of friends who are Yankee fans, that the Rays sweep the fucking Yankees. Pardon my French. But fuck the Yankees, man.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see if there's any still some love lost. I mean, these two teams hate each other. No matter who's on the team.
I'm going to say this, and I know this is many people would consider this a bad take, but as of today, as of this current second, not saying history-wise, but I'm saying in this season, in the past few seasons, the Rays-Yankees rivalry is better and more important than the Yankees-Red Sox rivalry. Because there hasn't been that same chippiness over the past 6-7 years that there has been with the Rays and the Yankees.
Right.
So if right now, I'm also pissed off at the national media, but that's a whole nother problem. The fact that we don't get any Sunday night baseball games after we went to the damn World Series. You're telling me that Yankees Rays would not be even a Monday night or even like give us on ESPN one of the 3 of these games? You're telling me that when we played the Yankees over a weekend, you didn't want to see that as Sunday night baseball? That is such a good matchup. And you know what? I hope Mike Brasso faces Chapman, and I hope he takes him fucking deep. Because the fact that the Yankees still have 2 people on their team who are domestic abusers pisses me off. It pisses me off that Chapman's still on that team.
I want to talk about the rivalries that you say. I think the thing is now with Tampa. So back then, the Boston, New York was because both of their fan bases are their own set of assholes. So I think that's what brought in that. Now, I think with Tampa and the Yankees, it's because we have so many New Yorkers down here.
And I also think it's the hate for the fact that they have a stadium in Tampa and we don't. And a lot of these Rays fans don't like that.
And they sell out Rays at Tropicana Field. They sell out Tropicana Field with Yankees fans. But now, as I saw the beginning of the opening season of the Trop here this year, it was a 50-50 split, maybe a 70 I wouldn't say 70-30, maybe a 60-40 Rays split versus the Yankees. It really seems like the Rays get the support when the Yankees come in town because they know that there's going to be some kind of excitement during the game.
You know what? It's all the hate for these Rays fans about these New Yorkers you transplanted. Not just when they're Rays and Yankee fans or it's Tampa versus the Jets or the Giants. Also because they suck at driving. They're the worst drivers in Tampa Bay. You try driving on I-4 and you see 3 New York license plates around you. They can't drive. Sorry, that's
Listen,
personal vendetta.
I just went to Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky. Listen, I talk about people's driving. It was not fun.
I'm sure.
So, anything else that you've seen in the minors that you think?
Vidal Brujan is going to be a beast. I mean, that kid is hitting the ball. 4 home runs, 9 RBIs, a 476 average. That's not including today. But the thing that sticks out to me the most, he's got 10 hits and 21 at bats, but 5 walks to only 2 strikeouts. So he's seeing the ball well. He's working himself into good counts. He's hitting for power. Right now, some people are saying I think he's a 5-tool player or 4-tool minus the arm because he's a second baseman, doesn't really have that great of an arm. But he could be a player here for years to come, Schoolie. I mean, your Wander Franco, Taylor Walls, Vidal Brujan. Learn those 3 names. Learn them for years.
So we get rid of KK. Donnie here with the Let's Go Blue Jays. No way.
What, you mean the Buffalo, Toronto?
I was gonna say, yeah. As they go up to Buffalo.
You know what the Blue Jays remind me of? The Blue Jays remind me of the homeless people in Ybor. They just can never find a spot to stay.
Well, nobody really wants to play in Toronto, do you?
No, want to play in Canada.
No, I mean, and it was good. It was good that they did those games in Dunedin. I understand the whole. I mean, they say this was part of their plan all along to not play the summer months coming down in an outdoor stadium.
Don't blame them. Honestly, don't blame them.
No. We know living down here, it's hot as hell. Welcome to the center of the earth here in Tampa. And then also the rain. You're going to start getting those rainstorms pulling in where Tropicana Field, you don't have to worry about that because it's a dome. Dunedin, they weren't going to have that. So, plus they have some past mojo up there in Buffalo. So they were happy to be back.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good. It's just going to make the road trips a little longer. Their last games played here is actually going to be against the Rays. The Rays will close down Dunedin Stadium against the Jays.
You know what? And I hope we leave a sour taste in their mouth when they leave.
So do I. Let them know that this is our area, and thank you for the wins.
That series, in case any of you all are looking out for it, that series is going to be May 21st through the 24th. They're playing 4 games because they're playing Monday the 24th at 1:07 p.m. Who made that call? Who made that call?
Listen, Donnie, I'm not saying that the Trop's any good. I'm saying here the worst stadium. I'm just saying there's a reason it's a dome.
Have you been to Miami?
No, they're a beautiful stadium.
Beautiful stadium, but
yeah, just the dome in Tampa. Those afternoon Tampa Storms, we would have a lot of rained out baseball games or delayed baseball games. So no, I don't think the Trop is that great of a stadium, but even if we replace it, I think it has to at least have a retractable roof.
I'd agree 1,000%.
It's got to have some kind of dome during the summer months. So yeah, so thanks for coming and visiting Blue Jays. Thanks for hopefully giving us.
Thanks for keeping Tampa Bay warm for us.
Yeah, now get the hell out of our area, and we can go back to Rays people.
Exactly, because no one likes the Blue Jays.
So, say they trade KK. What's this team look like next week or the week after?
Team trades KK. I think you give Josh Lowe another 2 to 3 weeks in the minors. I think in the time, I think you mix up between Brett Phillips and Randy Arozarena can play center, but so can Manuel Margot. You mix the 3 of those in. You sort of piece it together until Lowe is ready. Then you bring up Josh Lowe and tell him it's your center field now, kid. Enjoy it.
What other prospects you see coming up? I mean, let's say how much longer Troy got down there?
Troy's probably got another 4 to 7 days, probably. I'd say they want to get him at least 30 at bats, probably or so, roughly, give or take. He's got 14 plus 3 walks, so like 17 ABs. So they probably want to give him another 4 days, 5 days, somewhere around in there.
You see them making any other changes in the next couple weeks with any players?
I mean, Wander Franco's having a pretty dang good start, but I think they still want to see more from him down there. The only thing I could see is if he's not ready, we could see Kevin Padlow come up again. He's hitting well, 273, however, 10 strikeouts, but he's already got 4 bombs. On the pitching side of things, I think we see Honeywell come up sometime soon. I think we see Trevor Richards could probably come up sometime soon if we need some bullpen help. I think Honeywell is doing all right. He pitched 2 innings in his only outing so far. I think the person who impressed me the most so far in Durham has been Phoenix Sanders in the bullpen. He's 2 games, 3 innings, 3 strikeouts. He's looked really good. I also think something you obviously can't discount is Chris Ellis. He's got a 1.97 ERA in 9 2/3 innings. That's his whip, but he's got a 9.31 ERA. But a lot of his earned runs were going both ways, that I think he's a good pitcher and just the defense wasn't working behind him as much as they should. But I think the name to look out for, if you're a Rays fan and looking for a name to look out for Drew Strotman. He pitched 5 innings in his first start, 5 strikeouts and 4 walks. Or you can look at a guy like Joe Ryan, 5 innings, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts, no walks. Those 2 guys will probably be up here in Tampa very soon, especially if we need pitching help, because you can throw them into that cycle of Honeywell, McClanahan, Fleming, guys and Patino that you bring up and down as you need them.
I can't wait to get Evan back to be able to, hopefully next week all 3 of us are back here, because it's going to be interesting if we have a good week like we do this week. We were talking about how we're okay with this season tanking, but bring up some of those fresh people. But now here we are on a nice little hot streak, and it's like, okay, are we going to leave those people sitting down now and ride with what we have, or are we still going to make some changes and see what happens?
Here's my thing, okay? In my opinion, I'd rather see Durham win this season than Tampa go just above 500 trying to fight a wild card. I'd rather see Durham win a AAA championship and get the guys down in Durham, continue with that championship culture, because a lot of them played in Bowling Green together, or Port Charlotte when they won the championship there, or Montgomery. They've had success at every level in this organization, that I'd rather them continue their development and win and have fun rather than them just sort of dance around, bringing guys up and down and start throwing off consistent ABs. Because for guys like Franco and Padlow and Brujan, don't call them up unless you can give them consistent ABs and promise them consistent ABs.
Exactly.
Because you need to continue their development, and the way you're going to do that, consistent ABs.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to see Evan's opinion, because last week it was starting to be a little doom and gloom. I mean, it was kind of early in the season, but we weren't looking so good, only scoring 1 a game. But this last week, it's really been, as the Rays used to say, the hit show, and we've been scoring some runs. So, I don't know if they make too many changes while we're on this nice little thing. And then we got the Yankees coming up, who so far so good this season.
What's going to be the telltale sign for me is if we can win this homestand, if we can finish above, if we can go 4-2, 5-1, 6-0 on this homestand, or these 6 games against the 2 New York teams, I think that'll show something good, because right now you've got to make sure that you can win. And I'm still hesitant because I'm happy that they won. They went 5-2 on this road trip. I would have been happy with 4-3, but they need to make sure they continue to win, because as much as I hate to see it, we've seen the Rays do this and it be a fluke before.
Right. And I was watching Twitter while I was on vacation, and everybody's like, "Why can't they win at home? Why can't they win at home?" Um,
I mean, they can. They beat New York at home how many times already this season? They've beat
right.
New York in general how many times this season?
There's a shout out to you, Aiden.
That's my girlfriend.
Ah.
Hey, babe.
Good
Hello.
little shout out for you. So
Okay.
yeah, coming in. So we got the 3 games against the Yankees, the 3 games against the Mets, then a road trip against Baltimore, Toronto, then back home for a short little 5 games, then back against New York again.
I'm excited. I think we can set ourselves up with a chance to put ourselves in a really good spot if we do well in these next 15, 20 games. And I'd like us to win 10 out of our next 15. If we win 10 out of our next 15, I will feel much, much better about it.
Well, it's very doable.
Oh, 1,000%.
I mean, so you got those 15 games. You got 3 against the Yankees, 3 against the Mets, 3 against Baltimore, 4 against Toronto, and then the 15th game would be 1 against the Royals.
Yeah.
So it's very doable of
It's doable to win 10 games.
yeah.
The question is will the bats stay consistent, and will the pitching staff be up to the challenge? And I think the pitching staff is fine. My concern comes with the bats, and it'll also mean we have to stay healthy. And right now, it doesn't seem like any team in baseball can stay healthy.
No, it looks like it's all across the board. And if you look at all the transactions around the league, it's a lot.
And I'm not happy with the fact that Kiermaier's hurt. I obviously never want to see anyone hurt, but Kiermaier being hurt is the best case scenario of a guy to get hurt on this team.
Hey, that's
if Willie Adames was to go down, if Yandy Diaz was to go down, if Mike Zunino was to go down, if God forbid Tyler Glasnow was to go down, we're talking about, well, this season's a wash. But Kiermaier goes down. We're so used to it as Rays fans at this point that it doesn't faze us.
Yeah. I mean, when I heard the other day that KK, and I was like, did he break a nail? What's going on? And then I saw his wrist, and I was like, well, pretty much. He is like a glass little China doll. You got to put some bubble wrap around him if you don't want him to get hurt.
And at what point do the Rays go, okay, F it, let's get rid of you? And I think that time has to be soon, because you see what you have in the minor leagues and other players, even on this major league team, who you know can produce for you if you give them consistent at-bats. And this is something we talk about a lot. You give a guy consistent at-bats, he will come through for you. But if you don't give a guy consistent at-bats, he's not going to be you can't expect production, because if you only give him 3 at-bats every 4 days, like Brasso, yes, he came through with a homer, but he's not playing every day.
Right.
Brett Phillips is hitting under 200, but that's only in 18 at-bats where he's playing every 5th day. You know what I mean? You can't expect these guys to give you production if you don't give them consistent at-bats.
We should see Brasso during this Yankee. They tend to make sure he's in the lineup against the Yankees.
And I love it. I love it.
So he'll
especially that he's hot. He's coming in hot.
Whew. Right. Yeah. So it looks like, he'll be playing these next couple games. Whether they keep him in against the Mets will be something. But if you think that means Choi will come back,
we'll probably see. My guess is we'll probably see Choi either for the start of the Mets series or going to Baltimore is my guess of when we'll see him. My guess is probably we'll see him going to Baltimore just to make sure that he's ready. And the ride from Durham to Maryland is a lot easier than the ride from Durham to Tampa.
Yeah.
So they'll probably just have him meet him in Baltimore is my guess. He'll probably take his last at bat with Durham on Friday to give him 72 hours to quarantine or whatever you want to call it and make sure he can get to Baltimore. And I also think that once we see G-Man Choi, we know what kind of energy he brings to the team. I think it also sets a new fire for this team. And I also think that we can now feel confident about who's playing first base for us again.
And I think you get that fun back in the clubhouse.
Exactly, that fire, that fun. Because when him, Randy, and Brett Phillips are all together, it's fun. I mean, it's the reason why Joe Madden, as many people criticized him, it's why Joe Madden brought in all these fun things to the clubhouse. Because he realized when his players were having fun, they were winning.
Yeah, and you get more going with other sports. You look to see what the Lightning did right last year, what the Bucks did right last year. They were having fun. They were a team just having fun out on the field, out on the ice. Even the Rays' success last year, it was them having fun in the clubhouse. They need to get having fun
in the playoffs. G-Man Choi just doing his little dances. You know what I mean? G-Man Choi hitting a home run switch hitter. I mean,
Phillips with the whiteboard.
Exactly. I mean, all these things. It's.
There's so many things that came out of last year's playoffs that they should have carried over this year.
The stable. I mean, you know what I mean? It sounds stupid, but the stable of guys who are coming through. When Cash said that, it lit a fire under the team. Cash hasn't said anything like that to the national media. So, in my opinion, the Rays don't feel a fire.
We'll see what happens during this Yankees.
And I wish Evan was here to give us his take on this, because I think he would agree with us.
I think we could get a fire under this team this next series.
I think if we sweep the Yankees again, that fire.
I don't even know as sweeping. I think
just winning.
Or going after them.
Yeah.
You know, they throw once at our head one more time, or they hit one more batter. I think you have to go all in.
I think if another batter.
That's how the statement came about from Cash last year. So this will be the point where you put your foot down and say, you know what, just go beam his ass.
If another Rays hitter is hit, we will see the benches clear.
Yeah.
And you know what? Last year we never really had the benches clear. I mean, we had them semi-clear when the Yankees threw at us. But I think you've seen it no matter what team it is. When Amir Garrett, charged the entire Pirates team all by himself last year, it lit a fire under his Reds team and got him to the playoffs.
Well, once Cash made that statement last year, how I have the whole stable of 98, that they're 98 or faster. That was it. That you didn't see it happen anymore. And I think the team was a little upset. The players were a little upset. We didn't respond to those Yankees things already. When they were asking the players, what do you think about what's happened with the Yankees?
I'm upset we haven't thrown at the Yankees.
You can see they were biting their tongue, and they were a little upset that we hadn't retaliated. So I think if anything happens this series, I think we retaliate, and that's when this team's going to start bonding together again.
And you know what? It's going to be important for them to bond together.
Yep.
Because baseball's 162 games. And after the All-Star break and you're in the dog days, it's tough. It's not easy at all. But you got to do it. You got to do it. And I think if anyone can do it, it's this Rays team. They just need to get that fire lit underneath them. And I'm excited for them to do that finally.
Yeah, it's going to be a good week. I hope next week when we come together, everybody listening, we do this every Sunday, 8 p.m. I hope coming next Sunday, we talk about how they went 6-0 on this home.
I think that 6-0 is a possibility because outside of DeGrom, the Mets don't really have pitching. The Yankees, we seem to have the Yankees number, and I really hope we beat the Yankees because, like I've said already, fuck the Yankees, part of my French mom. By the way, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there listening. We appreciate you. We love you. But I just want us to beat the Yankees. Like, honestly, if we go 3-3 but sweep the Yankees but lose but get
It's a
swept by
winning
the
trip.
Mets, it's a
It's a
win.
winning trip. Yeah.
Like 3-3, a sweep of the Yankees but get swept by the Mets. Yes, it sucks, but you're happy. If you're a Rays fan, you're happy.
Yeah.
Ideally, it's a double sweep. I think more realistically, we're looking at more of a 4-2, 2 out of 3 from each. I think that's more realistic, but it'll be interesting to see.
So the pitching matchup on Monday shows Montgomery against Patino.
Ooh.
Tuesday, Garrett Cole. We haven't said who our pitcher will be. Thursday, Talon, but they haven't said who theirs will be. Then
You
the
know
Mets,
what?
we get Peterson, and that's all we know so far for the Mets.
You know what? If I'm the Rays, I know that he may not be ready. Bring back G-Man Choi to face Garrett Cole. G-Man Choi loves facing Garrett Cole. What a way to welcome him back to the Trop.
Yeah, but I don't think he'd be ready by then.
I don't think so either. But God, I want to see G-Man Choi just take Garrett Cole deep.
We can do that on the 31st.
Yeah,
the
works for me.
Last day of May. Bring them in.
Works for me.
So before we go, anything else you want to say?
What I want to say is, Rays fans, I know we said this last week, but still be patient. There's still a lot of season left to play. You're seeing that our minor league teams are absolutely killing it. Just stay calm, stay patient. We will get through this.
19-17, so far third in the AL East, and really they're just sitting right behind the Yankees. It's
Are the Yankees ahead of us again?
Yeah, only because they haven't played as many games. So, we win 2 of the 3, we'll be ahead of them. So, I say raise up and join everybody next Sunday. Come back with the 98ers, 8 o'clock. Check us out on Facebook, Shooter and Stash. You can check out the Twitter, We the 98ers. And if you're a Lightning fan, join us Tuesday night as we start getting ready for the playoffs for the Tampa Bay Lightning on We the Thunder.
Raise up, go Bucks.
Team Tampa Bay, here we go. So, all right. This is another broadcast of We the 98ers. We will see everybody next week.